Good evening. The lawyer for two of the women at the centre of the Sydney Swans scandal has made explosive new allegations that more men were in that Melbourne hotel room when alleged crimes were being committed early Monday morning.
But the Swans tried to get on the front foot with the allegation, threatening to sue anyone who spreads misinformation, while taking small steps to claw back the club's shattered reputation.
Captain and coach, no uniforms, no logos, no sponsors, but plenty of apologies.
We take full responsibility and we are deeply sorry.
To those women involved, I hope everyone is getting the support they need.
Revealing extreme frustration with the five stood-down players: Isaac Heaney, Chad Warner, Riley Bice, James Jordan, Nick Blakey.
My position is that I fully support the sanctions that have been handed down by the club.
We are extremely disappointed at the actions of the players.
They denied there was a split, but wouldn't say whether the five would ever be welcomed back.
Have you spoken to them, Kellen?
Yes, I have.
And how was that conversation?
Extremely hard. Extremely hard.
How are they going?
Like people would expect.
It was the most difficult press conference of their lives, with the CEO and key squad members supporting.
It's been a really hard week for everyone. We're not shying away from that.
But as they attempted to make amends, more bombshell allegations in Melbourne.
Behaviours that are simply disgusting and not acceptable in this day and age. And I was simply horrified.
The lawyer for two of the three strippers involved revealing his clients had agreed to some touching, but one player had gone too far.
I can't go into detail. However, the line was crossed.
I can't comment on what a lawyer says about something.
He also alleged there were 9 in the room, not 5.
My understanding is there were various officials in the room.
That's a police investigation, so all that will be brought out in due course.
Dean, can you confirm that you were not in that room that night?
I wasn't in the room.
The club backing him instantly. The Sydney Swans can confirm the only representatives were the 5 players. Reports to the contrary are simply false. The reality is the saga is far from over.
The woman at the centre of the scandal has now spoken out publicly for the first time, saying she now considers this a fight for women's justice and she intends to keep going, while her father has now also spoken exclusively to 7 News, revealing another twist to the events on Monday morning.
He claims his daughter suffered an asthma attack in the room as she was performing and was furious with the lack of help.
It was a lack of response to a medical episode that triggered the event. No assistance provided or care given.
Denying she was chasing a payout.
She's a strong thing in many ways, but she's very vulnerable now.
Anger too from a dad who grabbed a fan photo in the foyer that morning, his 5-year-old daughter with Isaac Heaney. I'm furious that my children were put anywhere near this situation. But from the Swans women's team today,
the best way that we can support us in this moment is get to the game on Sunday and hopefully break a record crowd.
Revealing they've had none, though, from the so-called Pullman 5, not a call.
No, they haven't.
As for talk of a boycott this Sunday, from one superfan,
that is disgraceful. You come, win, lose or draw, no matter what's happened.
And Chief Reporter Chris Reason joins us now. Chris, the legal battle surrounding the scandal is going to heat up.
Michael, on top of a possible criminal case and now a possible civil case that the women might launch as well. The lawyer acting for the lap dancers has confirmed to 7 News his 2 clients are considering suing the 5 players and potentially the club as well, despite the woman at the centre of the scandal claiming it's all about justice, not money. The lawyer is seeking damages for pain, suffering and economic loss, preparing to write to the Swans with a letter of demand for compensation. Otherwise, it will be off to the courts.
Chris Reason, thank you. Even in the face of unbearable grief, the family of Lily Hooper continues to show remarkable strength and forgiveness after initially being told she'd been found alive.
Right now, a vigil is being held for the 18-year-old at Oakdale in Sydney southwest, not far from the family home. The community is in shock and there's a lot of shared love for Lily and her family.
Today came the agony of identifying her body, which was finally recovered from bushland in the Southern Highlands.
Lily Hooper with the world at her feet, an adventurer, a lover of life and the outdoors. Just 18 years old, she went for a bushwalk and never came home.
She was doing what you'd want of every young person, and that is getting out in the community, getting out in nature.
Lily never stopped. A part-time job as a guide at bridge climb, a huge circle of friends and a deep love of martial arts.
She's a very talented, tough young lady, only 18 years of age. She was super tough on the mats, but yet she was still just such a lovely, sweet person.
The dedicated athlete trained the night before her fatal hike.
As she was leaving, she told us she'd be back on Wednesday night to train BJJ, and unfortunately that never happened.
What happened next is harrowing. An 8-day search of the Nattai National Park, almost 50 kilometres from her family home at Oakdale. Hundreds of police and volunteers scouring the dense bushland for missing Lily. And then the devastating breakdown in communication yesterday morning. Her family told by searchers she'd been found alive. 20 minutes later, utter devastation. Lily had actually died. Police promising today it will never happen again.
Yesterday's miscommunication, as tragic as it was not born out of ill will. We want to make sure this doesn't happen again. It was a terrible set of circumstances. We will work through that.
In an incredible display of courage, Lily's dad, Jim, says he holds no anger towards police and the SES who bungled the information when her body was found. Instead, telling 7 News he's grateful to them for never giving up on finding his precious girl. This afternoon, Jim and his wife Kiralee visited their daughter's body at the coroner's office, where a post-mortem will take place to work out how Lily died. From her workplace that was fostering Lily's dream of becoming a worldwide tour guide. Lily was an absolute delight from the moment she joined the Bridge Climb family. She was compassionate, a friend to all, motivated and had a positive impact on everyone she connected with. Clementine Cuneo, 7 News.
There's been yet another close call on the tarmac at Sydney Airport. Live to reporter Nick Overall. Nick, what happened this time?
Angie, it's the fourth near miss in just over 3 weeks. This one happened on Tuesday at around 8 o'clock. After landing in Sydney, Qantas flight 589 was taxiing towards the terminal. At the same time, another Qantas plane was heading towards the runway for a flight to Melbourne. Both aircraft were cleared onto converging paths, but the Airbus pilot spotted the Boeing and stopped. Now, it's the latest in a string of issues impacting the airport, with staff shortages and fatigue being closely looked at. Just this month, we've seen hundreds of delays due to demand on people in the tower. Now this, yet another incident the Transport Safety Bureau is investigating.
Nick, thank you.
Federal police have arrested a dual citizen accusing him of spying on Ukraine's military to help Russia's invading forces. Detectives are tonight trying to work out how far the espionage plot stretches.
Federal police in Brisbane arrest a suspect in an operation they call Wood Creeper and charge him with foreign interference.
A number of electronic devices and various items relevant to the investigation were seized.
The accused, 27-year-old Russian-born Australian citizen Vladimir Teslov, Victorian resident but arrested in southwest Brisbane, accused of travelling to Russia 2 years ago for military training, later travelling to Ukraine to join its armed forces, then seeking to provide Russia with details of Ukrainian military operations.
In Australia, it is alleged the man maintained contact with individuals he believed were connected to Russian intelligence services.
I'm very impressed by the work of the AFP.
Immediate praise from Ukraine for federal police who began work on the case in June. Intelligence agency ASIO had carriage of the case prior to that.
Australia, along with all other democratic countries, is a target for the Russian intelligence.
Teslov did not appear nor apply for bail as his matter went to Brisbane's Magistrates Court this afternoon, his lawyer saying little.
Is your client a Russian spy? Was he working for Russian intelligence from Australia?
Since 2020, federal police and ASIO have charged 8 individuals now with espionage or foreign interference.
This is about a very distant war happening in Europe, but with the offence happening right here at home.
Federal police say if the accused is convicted, he could face up to 20 years in prison.
A former colleague has given evidence at Alan Jones's trial about a North Shore lunch where complainant C alleges he was groped. The witness told the court he saw Alan sitting with his right hand on the stem of a wine glass, his left hand underneath the table. Going on to say complainant C looked distraught. The court also heard C confided in Ray Hadley in 2019 but rejected his offer for the pair to go to the police. Jones's lawyers allege the conversation was an attempt to destroy his reputation. Alan Jones denies all allegations.
Former Liberal State Government Minister David Elliott says he was under surveillance, threatened, even confronted in a car park as part of a campaign against him by a property developer. His evidence, part of an investigation into allegations of illegal donations to the Liberal Party.
How are you feeling about having your say today?
Facing an anti-corruption hearing, and David Elliott says very happy to be.
Good. Really good. Justice will prevail.
The former minister saying he was the target of a smear campaign after criticising a project in the Hills by fugitive developer Jean Nassif.
After that letter is when Nassif went nuts. Private investigators, death threats. I'm not saying that he was responsible for it, but I don't think it was a coincidence.
That he was confronted by Nassif in a car park at a hotel.
He then sort of did the whole finger in the chest saying, I demand to see you, I want to see you, how come you won't return my calls? And I said, listen, mate, I don't speak to property developers.
Saying Nassif threatened a staffer.
And he said, we've got photos of your boss, you're going to have to spill your guts on him.
That he was being watched by a private investigator.
He was monitoring the wrong house. So I hope they didn't pay him too much.
There was a dirt file, false claims of an affair, concluding Nassif was behind it all.
Because he had left a message on my mobile that he was going to get me.
Elliott said factional rivals made it virtually impossible for him to stand again.
A cult had taken over the Liberal Party, the Opus Dei faction, the religious right.
Claiming concerns about Nassif's involvement in Liberal branch stacking, raised with Premier Dominic Perrottet, fell on deaf ears.
I think anybody that has been adversely mentioned by ICAC should be expelled from the Liberal Party.
And after everything this inquiry has heard so far, David Elliott says he's now considering legal action of his own.
I think that there's a few people that are going to need to answer for some of the slanderous things they said about me.
But just who?
I've got to keep something for the book.
The inquiry continues. Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Well, Prince William is unimpressed, said to be seething at the impending return of his brother, Prince Harry, along with Meghan and their children to the UK.
Foreign editor Hugh Whitfield joins us. Hugh, any clearer why the Sussexes are heading back to the UK?
Well, Angie, Michael, there are claims Meghan has a new job based in the UK. Speculation too, they want to be closer to the King as he lives with cancer. The British government has ruled out providing them with security. Then there's the hostile London press, as Harry was spotted for the first time since the news broke. Here's Europe correspondent Isabel Mullen.
Out in Washington, ahead of his move back to Britain, Harry seems to have won over his home crowd.
Everyone loves Harry. I really like him. I don't know, I think sometimes she has a bit of a hard time in the UK that maybe she doesn't deserve.
I'm not sure about her really, so I love Harry.
We're both in the military and obviously Harry's got a military background, so it's always good to have him back.
The Sussexes returning any day now, their children enrolled in British schools. But will the tabloids change their minds about Meghan like they did Camilla?
Camilla has sort of shifted from public enemy number one in the mid-1990s to being one of the leading members of the royal family.
7 News understands Prince William is not impressed, at odds with his brother after Harry and Meghan aired their dirty laundry.
And now you potentially have the court of the Sussexes, the Sussexes in exile. It has a very kind of medieval feel to it.
The big question, what will the Sussexes do about security?
This is a private matter. It's a matter for Harry and for Meghan.
Prince Harry's security downgraded when he stepped back from royal duties.
Harry and Meghan could be entitled to taxpayer-funded security just by being here. Their home in California no longer a reason to deny the Sussexes British protection.
So why now?
My feeling is, though, ultimately this is about being closer to the King, because the King is obviously living with cancer.
In London, Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
The SES is warning Sydney siders it's time to get ready for storm season, saying gutters should be cleared now and outside items secured. A household emergency plan should also be discussed.
Don't take the risks. You keep your area tidy, well then the wind won't impact on you in that way, and the rain will continue to run down the storm area.
Emergency crews are gearing up for a busy 8 months. Last storm season, the state's volunteers responded to more than 23,000 incidents.